You walk through life believing your manners protect you, that your politeness shields you from rejection and conflict. Every smile, every apology, every soft word is a chain around your own power, invisible yet binding. People nod, pretend to understand, and then step over you the moment your back is turned. The world does not care about your niceness. It exploits it, thrives on it, and conditions you to crave approval from those who would gladly discard you. You have been trained to suppress rage, to stifle the truth, to hide your instincts beneath polite veneers. Each polite act has been a brick in the cage of your own insignificance. Loneliness whispers in the corners of your mind, a cold reminder that those who wield real power never wait for consent. Fear has been embedded in your very bones, social rejection etched into your reflexes, and yet you still offer softness in a world that rewards hardness. Every polite gesture is a surrender. Every explanation is a confession of weakness. Every attempt to please is a declaration of invisibility. And still, you ask why respect slips through your fingers. This is the brutal calculus of human hierarchy. Either you learn ruthlessness, or you remain a ghost in the lives of the powerful, unseen, unheard, irrelevant. Politeness is submission. The world only obeys those who take without asking. From the moment you learned to smile to please, to nod in agreement, to soften your voice when anger surged, you were being trained. Not by teachers or parents alone, but by the unrelenting, invisible forces of society. Every "thank you" that came out of your mouth was a surrender. Every apology, no matter how small, was a confession, a declaration to the world that your comfort, your boundaries, your needs, and your power were secondary to the approval of others. Politeness is not civility. It is a carefully constructed mask, one that camouflages weakness, hides ambition, and signals submission to those who would dominate. And the cruel irony is that those who are polite believe themselves to be moral, righteous, even intelligent. They cling to social niceties as if they were shields, but shields do not create power. Shields create targets. Shields announce to the predator, the manipulator, the silent observer, that here is someone who can be walked over, someone whose consent can be extracted without struggle, someone whose soul can be quietly consumed without a fight. Politeness is surrender disguised as virtue. Every act of it reinforces a hierarchy that works silently, relentlessly, and invisibly, one that rewards ruthlessness and punishes softness with surgical precision. You have been taught that manners are protection, that smiling can prevent conflict, that agreeing can prevent rejection, that soft words can prevent anger. But the truth is far darker. Smiles are interpreted, manipulated, and exploited. Agreements are stored in the memory of the calculating. Soft words are weighed against your silence, your hesitations, your unconscious admissions. The world does not care about your intentions. It does not honor your morality. It does not reward your restraint. It punishes you quietly, with a slow drip of irrelevance, with a creeping awareness that your kindness is your weakness, and that your weakness has always been visible to those who observe silently. You exist in the shadows of those who wield power without announcing it. You offer your consent freely, and they take it freely, without thought, without guilt. Your politeness is not an act of wisdom. It is a declaration of obedience. It is an open invitation to be dominated, controlled, and dismissed. And the more you cling to it, the less visible your real power becomes, the less audible your voice grows in rooms that matter, the less capable you are of commanding anything beyond a fleeting moment of attention. Politeness is the camouflage of the weak. The world does not reward camouflage. The world rewards predators. Consider how much of yourself you have surrendered in the name of being nice. The countless times you bit back words that could have cut, the times you swallowed truth to maintain a smile, the moments you softened your tone to avoid conflict, all of it has been an invisible taxation on your power. Every word you did not say, every truth you disguised, every boundary you ignored for the comfort of others, has been a deposit into the bank of someone else's influence. And they did not need to ask for it. They did not need to convince you. They only needed to observe your deference, to watch your hesitations, to feel the unspoken self-effacement that accompanies every polite act. And in those silent observations, they learned the rules of your surrender. Politeness is a map. It tells them where your vulnerabilities lie, how to manipulate your loyalties, which arguments you will never voice, which confrontations you will never pursue. It tells them which parts of your identity are negotiable and which are invisible to your own awareness. In being polite, you have offered them a blueprint of your self-submission. You have created a mirror for them to see your weakness and a lever for them to exploit it. And so they do. Silently, methodically, almost invisibly. They take without asking. They shape the world around you, leaving your influence fractured, your authority diluted, your existence quietly overridden. Politeness is the subtle chain that binds you, the unseen rope that keeps your voice small, your identity invisible, and your power unattainable. Do not confuse civility with submission. Civility is a conscious strategy wielded by the strong. It is a mask chosen by those who already understand their dominance. It is a tool, a calculated performance, a measured tactic designed to manipulate perception and extract advantage. Politeness, as it is taught to you, is the opposite. It is a reflex. It is conditioning. It is unconscious surrender. You do not smile because it serves your strategy. You smile because society trained you to do so, because the pressure of conformity has embedded it into your instincts, because the invisible tribunal of social approval monitors every gesture and adjusts your reward accordingly. And in this, your weakness becomes effortless to exploit. Those who understand human nature, those who observe without being seen, who measure without participating, who take without asking, read you like an open book. They see the polite gestures, the self-censoring, the over-explaining, the yielding posture. And they adjust. They take, they manipulate, they ascend. You remain polite. You remain weak. You remain unnoticed. Every polite word, every apology, every act of deference is not a shield. It is an invitation. It is an announcement to the world that you can be dominated, used, and replaced, and that you will offer no resistance beyond social convention. Politeness is a surrender disguised as morality, and morality is irrelevant to those who understand the mechanics of power. There is a loneliness that accompanies this truth, a quiet ache that spreads in the chest when you recognize that your careful acts of submission have not preserved your safety, have not earned you protection, have not garnered loyalty. You realize, often too late, that the world does not reward niceness. It rewards ruthlessness, strategy, anticipation, and the cold arithmetic of influence. And in the realization, a profound identity crisis emerges. Who are you, if all your polite acts were meaningless? What are you, if your morality only served to teach others how to exploit you? Politeness has been your habit, your armor, your instinct, and your prison. It has allowed others to learn your weaknesses, to predict your actions, to extract your compliance. It has rendered you invisible in rooms where presence matters, powerless in moments that define influence, irrelevant in spaces where authority is claimed. And this realization is a heavy one, a weight that presses on the mind like silence in a crowded room. It is a quiet terror that your whole life has been a rehearsal for your own subjugation, that your identity has been molded not by your will, but by the reflexive obedience demanded by polite society. Politeness is not your choice. It is the chain that has been welded around your instincts, and the first step toward freedom is to see it for what it is: weakness. Those who are powerful understand this instinctively. They never apologize unless it serves them. They never soften words unless it manipulates perception. They do not explain themselves unless it positions them to take more. Every action is a calculation, every word a tool, every silence a weapon. They understand the brutal arithmetic of human nature. Those who ask for permission are weaker than those who take. They understand that social niceties, when unearned, are invisible to authority. They understand that politeness is a language of consent, and those who speak it without awareness have surrendered their influence. And those who surrender are replaced. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, The polite are edged out. Their ideas are claimed by others, their social capital extracted by manipulators, their authority quietly dismantled. They are not humiliated publicly. They are removed invisibly. And they often do not notice, because their conditioning teaches them to equate politeness with virtue, to equate submission with morality, to equate yielding with goodness. But virtue does not grant power. Morality does not command obedience. Goodness does not protect you from those who understand the rules of dominance that polite society suppresses. And the polite, untrained, unaware, continue to surrender themselves day after day, gesture after gesture, word after word, their potential quietly leached away until they are nothing more than shadows in their own lives. And yet, the temptation of politeness is relentless. We are social creatures. We crave approval. We fear conflict. We desire to be liked. Every polite act feels safe. Every apology feels protective. Every nod feels like diplomacy. And everyone is a trap. They teach you that yielding preserves safety, that smiling ensures acceptance, that soft words prevent aggression. But the opposite is true. Each polite act builds the invisible scaffolding of your subjugation. Each act teaches the world how to control you. Each act erodes the self-confidence and authority you do not even realize you possess. Politeness does not protect you. It exposes you. It does not preserve harmony. It facilitates exploitation. It does not prevent conflict. It ensures that, when conflict comes, it is on someone else's terms, with someone else's rules, in a scenario you are unprepared to navigate. And it comes. It always comes. And by the time you recognize it, your polite habits have taught the world exactly how to dismantle you, quietly, efficiently, irrevocably. Power does not respond to polite requests. Influence does not emerge from soft words. Authority does not bow to civility. Those who wish to claim respect, status, or control must act in ways that make politeness irrelevant. They must speak with intention, take with precision, and remain silent until action is necessary. They must understand that asking is weakness and that taking is strength. Every polite instinct must be replaced with strategic awareness. Every habitual apology must be evaluated for its impact. Every reflexive smile must be measured against its consequences. You must learn to see the invisible hierarchy, to recognize the silent observers, to understand the forces that measure submission, and to act in ways that ensure you are not only present but dominant. Only then does politeness become a tool. Only then does control become attainable. Only then does your voice carry weight in the arenas where it matters. Until that moment, every polite act is a chain, every word a surrender, every instinct a blueprint for your replacement. And so, the question remains, unspoken and heavy. How long will you continue to obey without asking? How many silent concessions will you make before recognizing that politeness is your undoing? How many times will your instinctive deference teach others the map of your weakness, leaving you invisible in spaces where influence is claimed, powerless in arenas where decisions are made, irrelevant in the circles that define status and control? The world does not reward those who wait politely. It rewards those who take decisively. And every polite gesture you have offered has not been a gift but a surrender. Every apology has not been grace but a confession. Every attempt to smooth tension has not been diplomacy but a blueprint of your submission. And the truth, dark and inescapable, waits quietly, patiently, as it always has. Those who remain polite in a world that obeys the ruthless are destined to be quietly erased, one polite act at a time, until the echo of their own existence is gone. The weight of this truth presses on your chest, seeps into your bones, and lingers in every shadow of your mind, until the silence itself feels like a predator, waiting, watching, ready to remind you that the polite are never remembered. Explaining yourself is giving away control. Silence is the language of power. Every time you justify, every time you offer context, every time you attempt to clarify your intentions, you hand a piece of your influence to someone else. You believe explanation is a bridge, a path toward understanding, but the world does not reward clarity. The world rewards leverage. Every word you speak beyond necessity is a tool you surrender to someone who will use it to define you, to confine you, to shape your reality. You exist in the minds of others not by what you say, but by how your silence haunts them, by how your absence from debate forces them to reckon with your presence. Explaining is weakness. It is a subtle confession of insecurity. It admits to doubt, signals vulnerability, and gives others a foothold in your identity. And the more they grasp, the more they control. The more you articulate, the more their map of your mind becomes complete, the more predictable, the more manipulable you are. Silence is not absence, it is dominance. Silence is a fortress, and in its walls lies your power. The one who refrains from speech sets the rules, dictates the pace, and leaves others scrambling to fill the void, to interpret intentions, to fear the unknown. Fear of the unknown is leverage. Silence is authority. And those who cannot master it remain small, explain too much, apologize too much, vanish unnoticed into the orchestration of others. Words are a currency of submission. Each explanation is a transaction. Each justification is a deposit into someone else's control. The more you justify, the more indebted you become. Every polite clarification is an invisible surrender of autonomy. Every story you feel compelled to tell, every reasoning you feel compelled to offer, hands over a key, opens a gate, and invites intrusion into the private dominion of your mind. Power does not arise from sharing, it arises from withholding. It thrives in absence. It manifests in the tension you leave behind, in the questions you do not answer, in the weight of what is unsaid. Every silence cultivates anticipation, uncertainty, and respect. Every explanation dissolves it. Every justification invites judgment, undermines authority, and teaches others how to predict, control, and manipulate you. Silence is not just absence of sound, it is an invisible presence that presses on the minds of others, unsettles them, destabilizes their assumptions, and forces them to reckon with a mind they cannot map. And the tragic truth is that most people never learn this. They explain themselves endlessly, trade clarity for influence, rationalize their choices, justify their behaviors, and in doing so, they become a landscape others navigate at will. Their power seeps away, measured in every sentence spoken, counted in every detail shared, lost in the invisible ledger of human dominance. To remain silent is to claim ownership of perception. To withhold explanation is to command reality. To speak unnecessarily is to hand over your world, piece by fragile piece, into the hands of those who will exploit the gaps you leave. The world rewards those who understand the weight of absence, the tension of unspoken truths, the authority embedded in withholding. And those who do not learn remain captives of their own need to justify, their own fear of misunderstanding, their own illusions that clarity grants control. Silence is power. Explanation is surrender. And the one who masters the rhythm of silence dictates the lives of those who insist on hearing it, leaving them exposed, anxious, and vulnerable to the unseen force that holds the world in balance. Those who speak too much never notice the subtle erosion of their authority until it is irreversible, until influence has quietly slipped from their grasp, leaving only the echo of words that were never meant to control, only to appease. And in that echo, in that quiet, unforgiving truth, they discover that the price of explanation is invisibility, and the cost of silence is domination. Emotional transparency signals vulnerability. Those who hide their pain manipulate reality. Every time you reveal your suffering, expose your fears, display your disappointments, you are writing a manual for others to understand, predict, and exploit you. Pain is private. Fear is private. Grief, insecurity, longing, all of it belongs to no one but yourself, yet most are taught the opposite. They are taught that honesty, openness, and sharing are noble, that revealing inner turmoil creates connection, that tears and confessions are bridges to empathy. But empathy is a luxury. Understanding is rare. Compassion is often a mask for control. To show pain is to surrender a fragment of sovereignty over your own mind. And the world notices. It catalogs your weaknesses, measures your reactions, predicts your behavior, and silently adjusts its strategy to accommodate your openness. Those who hide their suffering gain an invisible leverage, a secret authority, because no one can anticipate the storm behind their calm. The eyes cannot read them, the mind cannot map them. They are unpredictable, unknowable, and thus untouchable. Emotional transparency is a currency of submission, and every confession, every sign of fragility, every tremor of despair is an unintentional payment to observers who calculate advantage from the map you've given them. Those who conceal their wounds create their own battlefield. They wield pain like a shadowed weapon, unseen until released. The hidden suffering becomes a tool, a lens of control, a quiet intimidation. The world fears what it cannot measure, and those who mask anguish are masters of this fear. Vulnerability is not weakness, it is a liability. And yet, the untrained, the conditioned, the polite, the good, continue to bare themselves to the world, offering clarity where ambiguity is power, offering transparency where mystery reigns, offering surrender where control is essential. Every visible wound is a point of leverage for others, a foothold in the architecture of influence, a silent invitation to interfere, manipulate, and dominate. The one who hides their pain is never predictable. They bend reality, they manipulate perception, they leave others guessing, anxious, calculating endlessly, never certain, never secure. This is the secret law few acknowledge. Concealment of inner suffering is mastery of external influence. Pain becomes a weapon when it is internalized, when it fuels strategy, when it shapes decisions silently, invisibly, while the world presumes ignorance, weakness, or helplessness. Those who display it freely are prey. Those who command it quietly are predators. And this quiet command is lethal, not because it hurts others directly, but because it forces them into uncertainty, compels them to navigate a landscape they cannot control, and reminds them, constantly, that the one who seems still, calm, detached, carries within a storm that cannot be read, cannot be predicted, cannot be subdued. Emotional transparency is surrender. Concealment is power. The moment you allow someone to see the depth of your suffering, you have handed them authority over your inner world, allowed them to shape perception, and invited manipulation. Those who understand this sit in silence, with cold calculation, watching the world stumble against the unseen weight they carry. They are untouchable because they are unknowable. They dictate the terms of engagement without a single word, without a single confession, without a single tremor. And the tragedy, the dark irony, is that most continue to bleed their pain into the hands of those who will never honor it, never respect it, never yield, because the world does not reward honesty, it rewards leverage. Emotional transparency is the language of the controlled. Concealment is the grammar of the powerful. Every revelation is a gift they did not earn. Every silent wound is a debt they cannot repay. And the one who hides, who manipulates the perception of calm, who masters the art of invisible suffering, moves through the world like a shadowed force, shaping outcomes, bending others, dominating without confrontation, wielding fear and uncertainty as weapons, silent, relentless, unstoppable. Social approval is a trap. Those who seek it are easily dominated. From the earliest moments of childhood, you are conditioned to crave validation, to measure worth by the approval of others, to chase recognition as if it were oxygen. Every compliment becomes a chain, every nod a shackle, every fleeting acknowledgement a tether to forces you cannot control. The desire to be liked, to be accepted, to be seen as good, or agreeable, or worthy, is one of the oldest mechanisms of control ever devised, subtle yet unrelenting. Those who understand this, those who see the invisible architecture of human desire, recognize that the approval seeker is inherently weak, predictable, and easily manipulated. To bend reality, to wield influence, one must not rely on applause, assent, or affirmation. To do so is to surrender power, voluntarily, to the arbiters of perception, to the silent evaluators who hold the map of your compliance in their hands. Every attempt to please, every concession made to avoid conflict, every compromise in pursuit of popularity, is a step deeper into the cage of dominance that society has already designed. The world does not honor conformity, it exploits it. Every person who has ever been obsessed with being liked, fitting in, earning approval, has been catalogued, measured, and ultimately controlled. Their desires are predictable, their weaknesses visible, their reactions calculable. Approval is currency, but it is not yours. Every smile, every well done, every carefully curated performance is a payment into someone else's ledger, a debt you never recognized you owed, and a tool for those who understand human nature to manipulate, coerce, and direct you with invisible precision. Seeking approval teaches the world how to influence you. Seeking approval teaches the world your boundaries, your tolerances, your insecurities. Seeking approval surrenders the map of your mind to others. Those who do not understand this chase it endlessly, never realizing that the applause they crave does not elevate them, it anchors them. It chains them to systems of control, to the expectations, judgments, and ambitions of others. Those who avoid the trap, who measure their engagement, who guard their reactions and withhold consent, who remain indifferent to the judgments of the crowd, are invisible yet omnipresent. They do not seek approval, they command attention. They do not beg recognition, they shape perception. They do not negotiate esteem, they claim influence by making themselves necessary, indispensable, and unknowable. And the one who understands this is untouchable in ways that those who crave acceptance cannot imagine. Social approval is a subtle predator. It observes silently, waits for surrender, and strikes when you are exposed by your own need to be liked. Those who chase it are mapped, predicted, and dominated before they even realize they are in the arena. And the cruelest irony is that the world applauds them for their conformity while simultaneously exploiting their every move. Those who do not seek approval are neither applauded nor condemned. They are a force, a shadow, a weight that shapes the room without a sound, a presence felt but never grasped, an authority that cannot be negotiated, bought, or measured. To desire approval is to submit. To withhold desire is to dominate. To be liked is to be manipulated. To be untouchable is to be silent, deliberate, and indifferent. And the approval seeker rarely realizes the chains they wear until the invisible ropes tighten around every facet of their life, until every instinct, every decision, every aspiration has been subtly directed by forces they never perceived. Social approval is a trap, and most walk into it willingly, blindfolded, smiling, thinking they are free. Those who escape see the world differently. They see the threads, the strings, the silent architects, and they move among them, untethered, unclaimed, unstoppable. The price of being liked is control. The cost of indifference is power. And in the quiet tension of those who refuse to seek approval, the world begins to bend, subtly, inexorably, to the will of the one who understands its mechanics.